All of these people in my life acting berserk. I'm feeling all pissed off and hurt. I need to know if I am the jerk. Oh, am I the jerk?
Okay, what about this mom here? Is she being a jerk for asking her babysitter to clean? Her email says, I am a mother of 4. I got 3 boys and a girl. My husband and I both work. And on Thursdays and Fridays, we have a babysitter come to watch the kids for the in-between times. Wonder what that means. We pay her for a good hourly wage. I pick her up from school on Thursdays, and I was just wondering, would I be a jerk for thinking about asking her to help do the dishes and clean up after the kids before my husband gets home? Now, I clean before she arrives. I mostly order pizza for them, and I have everything set up for success for her. But when my husband gets home, it's pretty much just a free-for-all, and there's just poop everywhere by the time I get home. Is it too much to ask your babysitter to do a little extra cleaning? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if you talk about it and ask and offer her more money, maybe when she signed on to do the gig and babysit for you, she agreed on the hourly wage based on what you were looking for her to do. So if you want to add responsibilities, it is the right thing to do to offer her more compensation for that.
I guess my question is, if you're babysitting, does that come with the duties of babysitting? If you make the kids meals and you get the plates dirty and they make a mess, is that part of your duty automatically as a babysitter?
Well, what you could say as the mom, you could craft it like this. You could say, hey, I'm trying to teach these kids how to clean up after themselves. So would you help me? I want you to get the kids to help you pick up after themselves, do the dishes, tidy up the kitchen, tidy up the dining room where they just ate. And you guys do that together as a project, because that's what I want my kids to start learning how to do.
Yeah.
Say, I'm doing it when you're not here. Can you help me by you doing it when I'm not here?
And it kind of shows you, when you do hire a babysitter, make sure on the front end you kind of go over what you want done and what part of it is, and see if they, are cool with those kind of agreements.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the babysitter doesn't want to have anything to do with that, then you just have to drop it.
Yeah, to me, I think if you offer a little bit extra money or have a conversation about it, I don't think there's anything jerky about it. They can always say no, or that they don't like it and negotiate their own terms on it. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with breaching. I understand what you're saying for that.
It would be nice of you to offer her a little bit more money, since you're kind of switching it up on her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And got a question here. This person wanting to know if they're a jerk. It says, I live in an apartment building. It's 5 floors, and each floor has a washer and dryer. But for my convenience, the washer and dryer on my floor is steps away from my apartment. Well, the other day, I put some clothes in the washer, and I saw that the dryer was done drying somebody else's clothes. After 40 minutes, though, the clothes were still in the dryer. So I waited another 20 minutes. I walked back, and they were still in the dryer. So am I the jerk for taking somebody else's clothes out of the dryer and putting them on top so I can dry my clothes and get on with my day? What do you think?
Oh, this happens all the time in situations like that. And if someone doesn't make rules or makes moves, you're going to have that problem all the time. That's what happens with the community. You
got to post the rules, like he's saying. Though you got to make it clear that, hey, if you leave your clothes in this dryer and they're dry and they're just sitting here for more than 30 minutes, the next person can remove them and place them on top of the washing machine or the dryer. But you know what? You got to put some kind of basket up there or something for that. You can't just have them up there loose.
Yeah, but a communal basket? I don't know if I'm down with that either. You got Ron from 3B's underwear in that basket before I don't know.
Well, hopefully it's Ron's clean underwear. But is Ron ever really clean?
Nah, not even after the washing process.
So sticky, Ron.
Yeah, to me, if you put your clothes in the washer, you've got maybe 5 to 10 minutes to come back. If it's a communal thing, to get them out, and if not, then be fortunate if they're only sitting on top of the dryer. So I don't think you are a jerk on that.
You're the jerk if you are keeping other people from using that. It's
Absolutely.
not your dryer. It's everyone's dryer. Right. There's got to be some law around here.
But post the law.
Yes.
You got to put up a note that says, hey, moving forward, if you leave your stuff in here longer than 30 minutes, the next person's going to take it out and put it on top of the dryer.
I mean, would you be shocked if you had those clothes in the dryer and you left them in there for 2.5 hours and someone moved them?
No.
I would not be shocked.
No.
I'd expect someone to do that.
Yeah, I think that you get basically about 5 minutes to make it good.
Unless you got, stabbed or something. That's different.
We do have a stab clause.
We do have a stab clause.
You got to put that on the paper.
Yeah. A couple comments that came in here. One person said, I used to live in a shared laundry apartment living facility, and I 1,000% moved somebody's laundry. Sorry, this is a shared space. You got to be responsible.
You got to.
I agree. I think you get 5 minutes after that, they're going to be on top of the dryer or somewhere else. So it's on you. Set your own little timer. You got it on your phone so you know when your laundry's done and go get it promptly. Ann in Port St. Lucie said, when I was a teen and a babysitter, I did have to do the dishes. And after they were put to bed, I had to clean the play area. And back in my day, we made pennies.
Well, I guess my question is, if you are babysitting, is it part of the baby? Let's say you make that meal and all the plates are dirty and there's food everywhere because on your shift, that's what went down. If it's the babysitting moment, are you expected to do that?
If it's established on the front end, then yeah. But if you don't establish it on the front end, now you have a new situation that you have to agree to the terms of.
So what if you had your house cleaned, but during the babysitting moment, it got really, really dirty? That's your responsibility at that point after.
I mean, you can ask the babysitter to tidy it up, but if you didn't ask her that before she took the job, she doesn't have to do it.
Another text says, I've nannied for years and I've always cleaned the kids' messes. I don't do extra chores that aren't child-related unless paid extra, but my rates include the cleaning after the kids. But that's something that's negotiated. I think that's what it is. You have to do a rate and say your rate includes this, this, and that, and everything's always negotiable.
Well,
Totally.
If you're babysitting and the kid, poops on the floor right in the middle of the living room during your shift, you're not supposed to clean it up, or
Now, you can't leave the poo just sitting
I'm just
there.
asking.
Yeah.
We got standards and rules here. You don't leave the turd.
It does seem standard if the kids do make kind of an epic mess on your watch.
Yes.
That it should be your responsibility because ultimately your job is, look, I don't plan on coming home and having my house destroyed. That's why I have a babysitter. Otherwise, I just leave the kids alone and let them destroy the house themselves and save the money.
Exactly. Now, if it's a mess that the parents did, that's way different. But yeah, if the kids make a mess, I don't know.
But you better establish that on the front end and have that conversation saying, look, I just need you with the kids together to pick up the messes that the kids make.
The dishes aren't that hard to do. If I'm saying for just that mess.
For just that meal mess.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And something to keep in mind, too. One person said, yeah, we asked the babysitter to do the dishes, and we agreed to pay more, and we did. The issue was she was so terrible at cleaning, we still had to do the dishes after she did the dishes. So you might be faced with that.
This is how we do. It's the KBJ Show.